I'm sure some of you could say, why does my dad hate me? There's no excuse for hurting anybody or for doing anything wrong. It wasn't your fault. The reason behind your absent or abusive father, why he did horrible things, or why he just simply wasn't there. I'm not making an excuse. I am not saying what your father did was right. You were not the reason. Emotions drive every decision we make in life. I'm sure some of you could say, why does my dad hate me? So I'd like to help you understand a little bit about human behavior and what is the potential reason behind your absent or abusive father, why he did horrible things, or why he just simply wasn't there. So you have to look at the basic human psychology, or very, very simple reasoning here is we have 40 thoughts a minute and about 70,000 thoughts a day. The problem is 50% of what we're thinking today is the same things we struggled with yesterday. Now, here's a father. I'm not making excuses, and just let me just very, very clearly here. I am not saying what your father did was right. Not at all. There's no excuse for hurting anybody or for doing anything wrong. There's never an excuse. I want to help you understand the reasoning of why some people do some very bad things. Okay, again, we're not excusing anything, just helping you to understand the reason. Most of all, I want to help you realize it wasn't your fault. I want you to accept the fact that you were not the reason that your father did what he did. So let me just help you understand a little bit of how the brain works, and particularly want to work around not the brain, but the emotions. Is how do our emotions drive every decision we make in life? So, like I said, we have 40 thoughts a minute, it's about 70,000 thoughts a day. 50% of what I'm thinking today is the same thing I struggled with yesterday. Now, if you ever get caught up in a overwhelming depression, or he's not able to think clearly and things are just not going smoothly, you realize how hard it is to do things for other people when you're overwhelmed with what you're struggling with. Again, we're not uh, giving a pass to what any person did. There's no reason for somebody to abuse somebody mentally, physically, at all, sexually, spiritually. There's no reason for abuse. There's no justification whatsoever. I just want you, again, the main goal is to help you realize you're not the problem. So you can imagine here's a father, for whatever reason, is overwhelmed with what's going on in their mind. Unfortunately, a lot of men are not willing to talk about what are they struggling with. So when you're not able to express what you're struggling with, it can get pretty jumbled up in your mind. If you ever have some thoughts going through your head that after you spoke them out, they're like, wow, that really didn't make any sense at all. But in your mind, it made a lot of sense. Why? Because you never articulated and laid it out. When you really start laying things out, you can start seeing them more clearly. Now, here's the problem: men don't share their problems. So here's this man with potentially all this junk in their head that literally started from their childhood. Everything you do in life is driven by the core belief you have as a child yourself. Most people have never gone back and dealt with the trauma or the dramatic events that happened in their childhood. Now, every decision they're making in as an adult is driven by that core belief of who do they think they are based on the events that happened in their past that they never dealt with. Again, we're not making excuses. I'm just helping you to give you a reason of why some people can be completely irrational and you cannot talk any sense into them and why they do some bad things. Now, as the adult, they are processing their future by 100% of who they believe they are in their past. Again, when they did not work it out, to lay it out, to straighten it out, it will have a jumbled up, mixed up mess that they're trying to work with. Now, here you come along and you present something to them that they are already struggling in their own mind about their own identity and their own worth. And when you bring anything to them that is abstract, I know loving a child should not be abstract. You have to understand in their brain, they didn't have the love, they didn't have the compassion, they weren't taught it, they don't have it. Remember, they cannot give you what they do not have. Yeah, so here's the hard part is you're looking to your father to love you, to care for you, and to be compassionate. They were never given that. They were never taught that. They didn't have it. So now the abstract event is they're expected to show love and compassion. And they can't because they weren't given it. So now this is a dilemma in their mind. It makes them feel less than, makes them feel foolish and unworthy. That unfortunately, this is very unfortunate. The defense mechanism to feeling less than or feeling pressured is to be angry. When you're pressured, how do you relieve that pressure? You push back. The way a man and a woman pushes back is by being angry. Now, why would somebody be angry at a child? It doesn't matter who is bringing the pressure, it reacts the same in the brain. In a nanosecond, your brain did a research and says, I'm feeling inadequate, I'm feeling unworthy, I'm feeling pressured in on. Our natural reaction is to be angry, to push back on that pressure, even on an infant. This is why there are people who abused infants out of anger, out of rage. So it sounds like really insane, but what it really is that person never fully dealt with the anger, discouragement, and trauma in their own life. So that when something comes against them that they're not able to respond appropriately with, appropriate care would be to love that infant or that child, no matter how old they are, through whatever they're going through. So you can only imagine this infant or this child is crying or doing something that is making this adult uncomfortable and not knowing what to do. So when they don't know what to do, their brain immediately goes to that I am not good enough, I am not worthy, I don't know what to do. And the natural reaction to feeling pressured is to push back with anger. Now, people who have anger problems are people that had a lot of distress in their life and had a lot of times they had to defend themselves, that didn't have that love and nurturing. They weren't taught. You would think it would be basic human nature to be loving, kind, and compassionate. But when a person has been neglected and abused themselves, it is so easy for them to resort to this anger to push back. Again, we're not making excuses. Please hear me. We're not making excuses for what your father did, whether he physically, verbally, mentally, emotionally, or sexually abused you. We're not making an excuse for it. I'm just trying to help you understand what is the reason why a seemingly normal person would do something like that. There is only one reason. It is because of the struggle they never dealt with. Now, what happens the longer you go without dealing with your problem, the more ingrained it becomes. It becomes so ingrained into your brain, it becomes what we call an automatic response. It's an auto response. You just instantly move right into that because you never took the time to correct it. Now, here's the problem: going back and correcting this is not easy. It is very, very hard, but it is very possible. Is you have to be willing to go back to those original events. And now the problem with this adult is they spent so many years covering this up and trying to displace it with other things that they've hidden it so much that it's very painful to go back and to deal with that. And that's why they don't want to do it. So the next time somebody gets angry at you or somebody does something to hurt you, my whole point of this video is I want you to realize that you are most likely not the reason that they're being angry or abusive. It is because they have never dealt with what happened to them way back when. The key for you is to be able to deal with your struggle by changing the meaning of who you are when this person is doing this to you so that you don't become angry in your future. When you're willing to go and look at what's happening and not take the burden of you're no good, you're not enough, you're worthless, it will greatly change your projection of your future. So you have to be able to look at this and say, this person could not give me what they did not have. That means that I am enough. I am worthy of love and acceptance. I am all that I need to be. Just because somebody, a father, is not giving me, and this goes for anybody, is not giving me what they should, but they can't give it to you because they simply don't have it. Again, the key I'm looking for here is I want you to realize it's not your fault. You are enough. You are worthy. You are loved. You are wanted. It's just they don't have the ability to give it to you. Now, this very same person could turn around and in a couple hours be the sweetest, nicest person you ever met because they have never dealt with the things that happened in their past. In that moment, in that auto response, they became angry and reacted in the moment based on their core beliefs. And as time passes, they realize that they made a mistake. And I know too many of the times they won't say they're sorry. They can't because of their pride. The key again, guys, I want you to realize this is not your fault. It is not because you're unworthy or stupid or worthless. I want you to change the meaning of who you are so that you don't carry this into your future. And this is why so many people get angry and are not able to control themselves because they never dealt with their core beliefs. What happened back here when they were a child? Because whatever they believe back there is what's going to carry into their future. It's pretty easy to see what a person's childhood was just by how they act when they're put in the corner, when they're pressured. And this is why so many fathers are abusive, because they don't have the ability to give. And I'm to be honest with you, they don't have the ability because they were never taught. They never had it themselves. And you know what something is made of, or you know what's inside of something when you crush it, when you really pressure it, when you get it against the wall and you really press into it. Whatever comes out. So to say it this way, whatever comes out of somebody's mouth when they're angry is what's truly in their heart. Nothing can come out of your mouth that's not already in your heart. And the truest way to know what's in somebody is watch when they're pushed into the corner and somebody takes their money or puts them down. Whatever they do is who they truly, truly are. I hope this was helpful. I hope you were encouraged by this. I want you to know you are worthy. You are enough. You are loved and you are wanted. If you don't mind, subscribe to my channel where you can catch more videos like this to encourage you. And I'll hope to see you in the next one.